Peace be with you. So today I wanted to make a short video about selfishness. I guess I just wanted to say that whatever is revealed in the Quran, especially what is revealed in the Quran as Serato Mustaqeem, the straight path, it is there to counteract selfishness that we all have in our hearts, right? So we're all selfish. We're all the stars in our own movie. We are all biased toward ourselves. And God wants us to fix that, right? So when you consider Serato Mustaqeem, so God defines Serato Mustaqeem in chapter 6, verses 151 to 153, right? And these verses start with the word kul. So you can be assured, or which means say in Arabic. So you can be assured that Prophet Muhammad stood in front of people and he told them exactly this. And it says, "Come, let me tell you what your Lord has forbidden for you, or made haram for you, that you should associate anything with him, and do good to your parents. And do not kill your children out of fear of poverty. We provide for you and for them. And do not approach fawahisha, or sexual immorality, whether it's hidden or out in the open. And do not kill a soul that God has made forbidden except for the requirements of justice. These are his commandments to you that you may understand. And do not approach the property of an orphan except in the most righteous manner until they reach maturity. And give full weight and measure with justice. We do not burden a soul beyond its ability. And when you speak, be just, even if it's against your own family. And keep your deal with God. These are his commandments to you that you may be mindful. And this is my Serato Mustaqeem. This is my straight path." So the Prophet Muhammad is saying this. So follow it, and do not follow any other paths, for they will lead you away from his path, meaning God's path. These are his commandments to you that you may be careful of your duty, that you may have taqwa, basically. So Prophet Muhammad tells this to people, right? This is the straight path. And be careful to, I'm telling you this, that you may understand it, that you may be mindful of it, and that you may be careful of your duty. Like, this is what you should focus on, right? So this is probably the most important part of the Quran. But what he explains are things that counteract selfishness, right? Show kindness to your parents, right? When we deal with our parents, we're selfish. We always think that we know better, even though that it's proven over and over that our parents, especially when we're young, they know better. Once you are past 30 years old, you understand that everybody at 16 to 22 is probably very stupid and very gullible. Maybe not stupid, they might be very intelligent, but we are all very gullible at that age. And we usually take it out on our parents, so out of selfishness, because we think we're smarter, right? So that's the first thing. Do not kill your children out of fear of poverty, right? That is the most selfish act. And especially out here in the West, when we kill children because we commit sexual immorality, so we decide to kill children to hide our immorality, or to make life easier to us, because who wants to deal with a baby, right? So God tells us not to do that, but that is a selfish act. What we call abortion is a selfish act, and not all abortions are because they're fetal anomalies and because of rape or incest. Most of them are because either the mom and dad don't want the baby, or they're trying to hide their immorality. So again, that's selfishness. And do not commit sexual immorality. So just from a male perspective, we know that we wouldn't want any man doing that to our family members, our daughters, our sisters, our mothers. We want our daughters, sisters, and mothers respected. But when we deal with other people's daughters, sisters, and mothers, most males approach this from a very selfish perspective, seeking only sex, basically. And they don't respect these women, and a lot of these just end in a tragedy for the woman, because whatever we want to say, society is still biased against women, because a woman that sleeps around is a slut, and a man that sleeps around is a player, and that's not right, but that's just the way things are. So in any case, God tells us, to male and female, to stay away from this type of behavior, but this is a selfish behavior. And even the females can use this to sleep with men just to gain their finances, which is also not uncommon in the West. So men use women, women use men, and that is a very selfish thing. So far, everything God listed, told us not to do, is to prevent this selfish behavior that we all have inside us. Of course, do not kill anybody that God has made forbidden, except for the requirements of justice. So, that can involve anger and any kind of, selfish. Killing is about as selfish as it gets. And then it says, do not approach the property of an orphan except in the most righteous manner. So stealing from orphans, those who are the weakest among us in society, is probably as despicable as it gets, but people still do that, and that is also very selfish. Give full weight and measure with justice. This is talking about business. And in other parts of the Quran, it says use a balanced scale and basically don't cheat people in commerce. And of course, whoever does not obey this is driven by personal greed. They're greedy, which is another form of selfishness. And when you speak, be just, even if it's against family. So again, if you lie, it is to either save your butt or to save the butts of those whom you value in your life, your friends, your family, and you are willing to throw somebody else into the fire or in jail or whatever to protect them. And that is also selfish. So this is what God commanded, and this is to cure us from this selfishness, and it's not unreasonable, right? We may not understand the consequences of selfishness, but when the whole world is selfish, it is hell. That's what we call hell. When everybody's out for themselves, the world is full of pain, and it's not it's not as bad as it will be when all those people who don't clean themselves end up in hell. They will have real pain then. But these people, this selfishness, is the cause of so much pain in the world. And if all of us would just obey God and walk on a straight path, there wouldn't be that much pain in this world. So we have to understand that all this is good advice. Serato Mustaqeem is the best advice. Walking on the straight path is the only path that leads to heaven. Without this, without mastering these few characteristics and cleaning ourselves from this selfishness, we're going to end up in hell. And we can deny it to ourselves all we want, but we're going to end up in hell. And God's advice is the best advice, because think about it, especially people who have children. When you give your children advice, when you forbid them something, it is because you will destroy them, right? Don't touch that hot stove. The child does not understand, does not have the concept of that kind of pain and that kind of bodily damage until they actually do it. So you have to spend extra time monitoring that particular behavior, because that particular behavior is extra dangerous, right? Because if they knock that hot water on their face, they will be scarred for life. They will be in extreme pain. So you spend extra time trying to teach them about that, because you don't want them to learn that by experience. Well, God gives us these things that He does not want us to learn by experience. So we have to trust them, and this is faith. Faith isn't just knowing that God exists, because even the devil knows that God exists. Faith is believing God when tells you that something is forbidden, you understand it's forbidden for a reason. And when something is encouraged or commanded, it's also there for a reason. And we have to do it. And that is faith. So that's it. We have to clean ourselves up from selfishness, and that is not easy. That takes years and years and years and years of sincere trying and mistakes and trying and mistakes, because nobody gets good overnight. It doesn't matter if you're just trying to learn how to read or trying to learn how to fight or trying to learn any kind of skill. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and these particular skills take extreme amounts of time, because this is something. This is the hardest thing that any one of us can learn. So being a Muslim is the hardest thing anybody can be, and it is the most rewarded one. And I don't mean Muslim in the in the cultural characteristics. I mean defined by this behavior I just explained. So that's it.